How we doing today, folks? Welcome to season 4 of Just Conversations, No Interviews. Today I have the lovely RIZZ Harper, and I have the lovely Shad Knows Loans. And we are back again to talk about the real estate market. Hey, it's the summertime. I know some of y'all still homeless. I know they evicted some of y'all, so we're gonna help y'all get back in these houses. It's the last thing we do. So anyway, first we're gonna kick it over to them and let's see what they have been doing in the last couple of months. How y'all been doing?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Doing good.
I just saw you in the Doomsday walking through a very fancy. How much was that house you walked through, man? That joint looked very expensive.
Oh, about 850K, my friend.
Jesus Christ.
50K, my
Jesus
friend.
Christ. It was a very sexy house.
850K. It was a
Very,
dope
very
house.
sexy house. LED lights. The joint was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Was it an open house?
Yeah. I happened.
That's such great marketing.
I happened to park a car for someone who like totally lost it. He was like, "I've had enough. I can't do this city. I've had enough." I'm like, "Where are you now?" Okay, just stop. Put it in park.
Put it in park, I'll be there.
I'll be right there.
I got
and I lost 45 minutes of my life
Okay.
parking someone else's car. Right? Oddly enough, it was the first time I drove a Dodge, whatever, Hemi Charger, whatever.
I don't know. I'm not
So
fun
it
was
was that.
Police pull you over. Young boys put a scat packs on you. Oh, hey, get that up.
But it definitely.
Yeah.
But
all that.
yeah,
It's fucking
man.
my
So
nerves.
I parked super far, and then on the walk back, I do a lot of work with a brokerage here in Philly, Elfont, Wissahickon. Shout out Elfont. And so I just walked right up in there, and it was a sexy situation. Rooftop deck was bananas. Shit ton of floors, vertical living, bathrooms everywhere, 4 beds, 4 baths.
4 beds, 4 baths in South Philly. I was thinking $1 million at least.
Oh, very close. It will be. Graduate hospital area, small little backyard. They put the old school, it looked like old school, but like a newer version of that green porch that used to be back in the day. Like your grandma used to put that little astroturf porch.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a new school, old
grass,
school version
no grass
of that.
back there.
Right,
We
no
ain't got
grass
no
back
grass.
there.
That's all
and
cement.
the backyard literally was like that big, right? But the rooftop deck was a sexy situation. Like that was, and the view of the city, and then you see all of the other rooftop decks. Literally could be a rooftop deck block party. They should coordinate a day where everybody just go up there
Just
and
rooftop the whole thing.
just rooftop the whole joint.
Yeah, let me get
throwing
lit.
football, Nerf balls,
I'm
back
jumping
and
off
forth
of it.
drinks.
I'm jumping off the roof.
Nice.
Let's go, baby.
Right,
let's
let's
go.
get it.
You're crazy.
Let's get it.
Different color
Right
lights.
behind you. But yeah, right?
Throw a drone up there, show the party.
It's
Love
asking
it.
for it, man. Somebody should coordinate that, man. We
You just did.
boom, done.
Elfont.
Like,
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, this is how dumb I am. I always see that word, Elfont, Elfiant.
Yep.
I could never pronounce it. I was like,
I don't think it's an I in
I
there,
felt
baby.
it. I seen the I in it.
ELFANT.
See, I
And
can't
then
spell, I can't
Wissahickon.
read, and I can't never see it. I just saw Wissahickon, I'd be like, damn, that's a fancy joint right there.
Yeah.
because you'll think it was Elfant.
Yeah, Elfant, that's
Yeah,
me.
Elfant,
I can't read.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But let's get back to you with them swollen ankles. So
up,
I see
Blake?
you ain't. I see you ain't. First of all, you got another person on the pod, which is illegal. I don't know how they pop up in here. They in the
three-man
pod.
show, man.
Yeah,
It's three-man show, bro.
This is 3 people show. I don't know how this person come running up in here out of nowhere.
I did a good job hiding it the last time. Now not so much.
Yeah, now you got ankles like you've been playing ball all month.
First of all, my ankles are perfect.
Child, I don't know. Them Jones is looking serious.
My ankles are perfect. Like that's been the one thing. I only got fat here.
You saved your ankles?
Yes.
So
my
what's been
ankles
going
is
on
good.
with you, player? What have you been doing?
Well, you see what I've been doing.
Wow.
Like
Lord.
preparing to give birth.
Well, Lord Jesus, save her for that sin. Save her for that sin, Jesus.
Preparing to get.
Preparing
Mother
to
Nature.
give birth. I have been creating life with my body is what I've been doing. But on the flip side, I've also been working, just trying to get my investors together and get those guys into the properties that are starting to come back out on the market and find some great deals for my investor clients. Quite a few commercial deals in flux, so just that sort of thing happening.
So have you two been getting this call yet from your client? They cut the credit line. I don't have nothing left. Is there any way you can get me out of this deal now? Have y'all been experiencing them calls yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
But I have stumbled on a few deals because somebody else got those calls.
Somebody else, yeah. So it's little rumbles, little rippers, little ripples. And I only say it not to bust on people that's going through it, because I've been there and shit. I like I said, I went through it all in 08, so I know a lot of people gonna go through now. And just hold on. It gets better a little bit later, but just for right now, it's going to be quite the experience for y'all.
Yeah, you gotta have a good strategy.
So
Yeah,
has the
banks
numbers
are
started
getting
going
tight.
down yet, or the numbers pretty still holding tight?
I mean, I just read something today. Like, I didn't even read the article because, you know, I hate to start Monday morning with doom and gloom, right? But,
Part of
you
the
know,
process.
has the housing market reached, you know, the bathroom floor or something like that? Like, literally, like when, you know, I guess it was trying to paint the picture like you on your hands and knees around,
Yeah.
you know,
Hugging the
porcelain hugger.
commode.
Please, God, I won't do this again. Right, but literally has real estate hit that dark place. And is this it? Is this the floor? Is this as quiet as we're going to be? I have had a lot of people talking to me about liquidating.
Okay.
Right, I thought it would be worse. It's bad, but it hasn't been as bad as I thought. But there are the people who've seen this before. They're liquidating, but they're liquidating so they can have
Attack, so they can have some money
so
to
they can
attack.
have something to move forward once things start to change, because things will change.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've seen that, and I'm like, so that's what you do when you've seen this before, versus, you know, a lot of the first timers or the amateurs or people following somebody else's script. You know, I had a lot of killers, so to speak, tell me like they were definitely, hey, look, I'm gonna off these 2 or 3. I'm gonna be sitting heavy, and then I'm gonna pounce when opportunity comes.
Yep.
So I'm seeing
That's
that.
smart. You gotta change your
Definitely
strategy.
seen that. Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
you know that's what it is, and that's what I'm seeing too. I'm seeing a lot of people go from their atypical buy and hold single families to more multifamily investments, commercial mixed use, full on commercial. So it's just, you know, people are finding ways to strategize and maximize whatever kind of money that they, you know, were used to playing around with, just to make sure,
Yeah.
you know, that they stay ahead, one step ahead every time. So.
Yeah, I'm seeing conversions by folks who don't typically do them. I'm seeing a guy that I know I met through social media. He was he's putting the 3rd floor on a couple of his properties that he just bagged up, and so I know that's got to be crazy.
Are y'all ready for airspace to start getting sold in Philadelphia?
Y'all
Y'all don't see that coming? I'm telling you, in 10 years we're selling airspace.
I wouldn't be surprised.
We are selling
Neither would
airspace.
I.
Not air in the can, but airspace, like what they do in New York, the air over top of your building. I guarantee you, we're heading right in that direction. And it's funny because it's like every time I just look, I'm like, damn, like, because the people who buy in these prices, these houses at these prices, a lot of them not from Philadelphia. So you got to figure out where are these people coming from. And there's always like the New York area, the Washington, and I see how many apartments are being built now, and it's like crazy in the city. Like buying a house is such a thing of a past, and I'm surprised that so many people are so comfortable just living in these apartments that's going to constantly keep going up. So as we've seen this week or last week, they said Philadelphia is four urban areas where renting is cheaper than buying.
Yep.
And people think that's like, oh, they're backwards because everybody's stupid. No, it's a lot of old renters like me. Like we were just talking, like you were saying, you're a cheap renter because you have a 1-bedroom that's for $900, and I said if she's a cheap renter because of that, I have 1 bedrooms that's $500, so I need to be shot. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that because 20 years ago that was a good price, I know I have to boost that rent up because of what just happened with the tax base and all that stuff.
Assessment.
So but then on the same token, I still have to update some of those properties.
And that's what I was going to say. That's the other side of the coin that a lot of people aren't talking about. Like, you know, your rents are where they are because sometimes it's a hassle to go through.
It's impossible,
you know,
to redo an apartment while somebody's living in there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, it's impossible.
So now you got to lose the income. You got to shell out the money.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
what-
and then you got to
You got
account
months
for the
of
vacancy.
not. I was about to say,
and still,
having a
you know,
vacant prop.
Yeah, so that's where we at with this thing. So that's why I'm saying when they show like the rents are so old, yeah, because some of these landlords been in this game. If I'm in 20, you got guys been in this game for 40 years. You know what I mean? Like you said, you got a client right now that's looking at offering properties they had since '78. Like nobody, you know, like when you put that all together, this wasn't never like New York where you was always, oh, I got to rent, got to buy the rent. It's not like that here. You know what I mean? So now what we're seeing is the flip side is that these rents are going to keep going up and up and up. So while they saying that the rents is cheap here, about 2 years, rent's gonna be crazy. So like right now, I seen that a 3-bedroom house in West Philly goes for like $1,700 a month, And that 1,700 a month in West Philly is crazy. Like in some of the neighborhoods, I'm like, damn, I remember these houses was 700, 800, 850 a month. That's usually what 3-bedroom house was when I first got in the game. And the
Yeah,
fact
but
that
right now the average sale price in West Philly is about $235.
yeah, 200 something thousand. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy, and it's like it's not gonna stop. Like I'm telling you, like it's gonna be to the point of like add another 100,000, and then just keep adding that rent. So I think 1,700. So by next year, if we, next year we'll be around somewhere in the 3,000s. It'll be 3,000 to rent like a full house, because those apartments that's coming out now,
It's about that price.
the apartment's gonna hit 2,000 and 3,000 because they coming out the ground with all that stuff.
Yeah, another article came out last week, more so a study that said, hey, rental costs are growing year over year faster than the average person's income.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty scary too, because
Shit don't make sense.
it doesn't make sense.
It don't make sense. So
Like,
what we gonna have?
how
Like
am I
a whole
supposed to
fam-
sustain my place?
Yeah, we're gonna have like 2 families in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Right.
That's where we're going.
Right.
Because if you remember, they had a big fire in Francisville. Not to talk about nobody, but like it was a lot of people in this one house. It was almost like or whatever. Maybe they had a big spending night
yeah.
that night. Maybe they just had a big spending night. I don't know how so many people got in that one house.
That was like last summer, right?
Yeah,
Last summer?
yeah. So, I mean, I met when I was young. I mean, sometimes shit, we would be like 9, 12 deep in the 3-bedroom, but that was us spending all of our cousins in one house or something. But like, that's going to be the average standard of living. Like, because if you think about it, if the average person making $15 an hour might make $700, every 2 weeks at the taxes,
Yeah.
somewhere in that area. I mean, even if you bring home $1,000, how do you pay? That's 2 weeks worth of money.
I don't know how people do it, man. I see so many people coming into my place, applying for a loan, and they are making between 28 to 42 grand. Now, 42 grand is the start, I like to say, where you can buy something. You might not like what you're gonna buy, but I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just looking at that, 28 to 42, and then I'm looking at the car. I'm looking at let's just say 2 credit cards.
Let's look at the car with the 21% interest.
Oh, for
That
sure.
part.
Or 19%.
$700
That part,
payment.
Yes.
$800 payment.
That's just the payment. It's not the car insurance.
And I was going to say,
Not the
let's not forget
insurance,
the car
right?
insurance.
And again,
insurance in
I'm looking
Philadelphia
at
is
credit
retarded.
related. It's
insurance
insane.
in Philadelphia has went to
insane.
another level. I'm about to leave this city.
Insane.
Yeah, I'm on
I
my
just
way.
tried to explain this to my son, and I'm like, dude, he's talking about getting, he has 3 choices. His top 3 vehicles that he wants is
Scat Pack,
a
SRT.
Charger, a Chrysler 300, or a BMW.
Oh.
And I said, okay,
He
those
a
are really
mechanic?
lofty goals. Yeah, well, so that was one of his.
Yeah, is he a mechanic?
that was the thing. Like he wanted to take that up as a trade. So he does know how to
gonna
do
need
different
to.
little odds and ends.
You gonna
You know,
need to.
So he in
on
an
cars.
86?
He can do oil change. He can change
What-
brakes. That kind of thing. But I mean, I
What
don't
year is
know,
he
like
getting?
if he can like
What year is he
swap out
getting?
an alternator or
But listen,
transmission.
what year is he getting?
Honey, listen.
Honey, what year is he
He
getting?
can't go back too far because then it's a classic. Like.
Oh,
Listen,
yeah.
listen what I'm saying, because I don't know if y'all seen the under hood of a 2020, 2023 BMW. That shit look like
yeah,
physics.
it's all computers.
Yeah, it looked like physics when
Sensors.
yeah.
Lights.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how much oil he changing under
And
there.
listen, and I told him, I said,
German
I
engineering.
said that's a lot of money. And he's like, well, like I'll figure it out. I said, honey, you can't figure this out. You have to know. Like, and I said, I'm explaining this to you, number one, because you're young, you're under 25, and your insurance alone. I said, your insurance alone. You have to get full coverage if you're talking about
Then
taking
a
on a
car
car
note.
note.
Yep.
So that's going to run you anywhere between $500 to $600 a month.
Especially driving
insurance.
nose
I said
cars.
just for the
That's
insurance, and he's
Especially
like,
driving nose cars.
yeah. I said, and then when we get to repairs, if you want a BMW, like those repairs, you're importing parts. You got to wait a little bit. They may or may not give you a rental for your
Yeah.
inconvenience.
Drive
Like,
one
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So-
And then you gotta make that big decision when you're young and you got them type of bills. Am I gonna eat this week or pay for this per repair?
That part.
You know what I'm saying?
That part.
Because you go to BMW dealership, you come out of there, man, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. That's lightweight.
Tires kill me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. The run flats and
kill
all.
me.
The run flats and all.
I pay at least $3,000 in tires a year. That's something
I'm
that
not
I
surprised.
gotta have already
Oh, no, you have a
stashed
BMW?
aside. Yep,
Yeah, see?
right after 3,000.
I'm gonna
a
have my
year.
son call you. Like,
Potholes, them potholes.
But you got the run flats?
urban. Yeah.
And I know you got the warranty on them tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I'm saying, as long as you got the warranty on them, but you're gonna go through at least 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah,
Easy.
the pothole's crazy.
Yeah.
The pothole's crazy.
And you ain't got to be going fast.
And I'm low to the ground. You know, if you got a 3 Series, you're gonna be really, really low to the ground.
So how's your shocks?
What shocks? What shocks? I eat every bump.
I'm sure.
Oh, you're
All
bad.
of them.
You're a bad man.
Undercarriage be like, oh man, this what you doing under here, man? Like, damn, bruh. You know.
So let's get back to these houses, though. I see they had some fancy lending coming out. The 1% down. They say you can go as cheap as 1% down now to get something. How y'all feel about that 1% that they got coming out?
It comes back.
It comes back.
It comes back in other ways.
Yeah. So, real quick. There's, I think, more than 5, less than 10 lenders that do that one, right?
Okay.
So it's 1% for the buyer. He's taking on possibly a second mortgage on the property. Could be interest-free, non-repayable as long as you do X, Y, and Z.
Oh, as long as you stay in
right?
the house
But
long
it's
enough.
2% of it, right? Because it has to be a conventional loan in most cases, right? So think of the conventional loan where it's 3% down, 97% LTV, right? You know, so the 2%,
That's loan to value, people.
loan to value, the 2% though is picked up by the lender. So it's essentially the lenders that are
paying.
providing that,
Okay.
they're covering the 2%. So for the desktop underwriter to even rock with this kind of loan, like, you gotta be the right?
Yeah.
You gotta have the algorithms
So
be
you gotta
in
make
your
some serious-
favor,
you gotta make some
right? You
serious
can't
money.
just be some bum to be like, yeah, he got me on
Right.
that 2%. He
Oh,
told
so
me
you
he
gotta
got
have
me.
some good credit, some good money and
Great
everything?
credit.
Oh,
have to
you
have
better
great
have it,
credit.
Oh,
bro.
that 1% is for the great credit people?
Yes.
Yeah, it better be for something.
So
You can't be a bum and just throw out this, I got this 1%.
It's not for
Nah,
the people who just skate by.
absolutely not, because it's a conventional loan.
So what about the new thing with the credit thing? And they said anybody that has a 620 to a 680 is considered better credit than somebody with a 700. Everybody,
yeah,
not better credit. They
Right.
pay 5.
They're gonna pay
0.5%.
less money
Yeah,
than-
0.5% more.
Yeah, so they've
But you
actually,
guys just did an algorithm on that. We were talking about
Yeah.
like a month ago, 2
yeah,
months ago, we were talking about that.
LLPAs, the LLPAs. So they've actually scaled back on that somewhat.
Oh, okay. That's something that they tried that didn't make sense.
Yeah, but see, even the funny thing is, a lot of lenders, we had found out about that in January, and many had already started putting that in play, and the sky didn't fall.
Yeah.
People are still getting loans. If you still got really good credit, you're still going to win, versus somebody that doesn't have good credit. You're still going to pay in the long run. There were some nuances that they tried to change, so that, you know, somebody with lesser credit won't have to pay so severely. It's not really going to impact the guy with good credit.
Okay.
He's still going to win, but it's the people that are just skating by, they would pay like they weigh, right, to get in and sit at this table. But now a lot of those costs have been reduced. But it's not a game changer. We're still writing the same amount of loans than we were 3 to 6 months ago.
And it didn't tip the scale because it came right at the same time that the rates were
interest
already
rates.
changing anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, people are now at a point where they're accustomed to what these newer interest rates are. And they're just basically just, you know, adjusting themselves.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that news broke around the same time as the FHA, which is not related to conventional buying, which is run by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? This right around the same news drop where they were going to mess around with, you know, the credit tiers. The FHA decided to lower some of their mortgage insurance cost. So the monthly mortgage
Which is
insurance dropped, and they say an
PMI is
average,
dropping?
an average of $800
A year?
you know, a year,
lifetime?
depending on, you know, what kind of house you buy, what the loan amount is. But they have made some reductions. So you buy a $250,000 house, and you might be paying, you know, $160. Well, now you might just be paying $100.
Yeah, that's
Right,
good. That's
and
still,
so, you know, 115, 120, something like that, and so
Depending on
Either
where
way,
you
they're
live,
going
that's
to get the
good.
same amount of money out your pocket no matter what. It's still in the same range.
but
yeah.
depending
But
on
it's-
where you live, you just got that water bill covered, baby.
Hey, look, you can afford a little bit more houses. as I tell people, you can afford a little bit house. Now the basement's finished before you got to go in there and spend. Right? It's not going to keep you in or keep you out of a home, but just that $15,000 to $20,000 extra in a market like this where every dollar counts.
It makes
like,
sense.
20 grand ain't going to save you in San Francisco.
No,
right?
not at all. Not
right?
at all.
But 20 grand could save you here.
Philadelphia, yeah. Put you in a different zip code.
160 to 185. Now all of a sudden, you got more finishes that are important to you and less to finish on the back end, renovating the house.
You still ain't getting those black windows we talked about.
Ooh,
but
no.
I'm never getting black
but you
windows.
might be able to get hardwood floors.
I'm never getting the black windows, so I.
Man's going to rehab now. Them Johns is sexy, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, them Johns is sexy.
I could imagine.
Love me some black
See, they're
windows.
on a different level for me. I'm like poor real estate guy from the 2000s. I'm like Melly Mel of the real estate. I'm like Melly Mel. They all like little jiggers. They little jiggers and Nas's.
Right.
I'm like Melly Mel. I don't know
Cue
nothing.
the chingy.
yeah.
Cue the chingy.
All I know is the message.
Oversized clothes, Averexes.
I'm
with the
I'm super old
Averexes out
school.
there.
So tell me this: what's the temperature like been for the buyers now in this market? Are they scared, fearful? What they been doing?
They're still out there.
The first time buyers.
So
the
it's funny. You got a range. You got some first time buyers that's out here, they're anxious and it's like, they're gonna pull through. Because the one thing that I do like is for first time buyers specifically, like there's always something available. So there's always some kind of supplemental something that's going to help, get those buyers into a home. So for the people who are just starting out, they're hyped, they're ready to go. There's buyers from last year that are still kind of,
So, and that's investors or just regular homeowners?
these are just regular first-time buyers.
First-time home buyers.
Investors aren't so squeamish, like they're used to the prices
they
going
just
up
wanna
and
do
down.
whatever,
Like they don't really mind. It's just, again, like I said, they're re-strategizing. But for the first-time buyers, they, you got a couple that's still straddling the fence because they're going back and forth between, when I first wanted to start, rates were here, and they can't quite wrap their minds around the fact that rates have changed. So it's like, as somebody in my position, you have to basically explain to them, one, rates aren't going anywhere. Two, interest rates are a tax write-off. So there's benefits, to every side of it. And not only that, to quote my good buddy here, you marry the house, date the rate.
That's the greatest line ever made. I don't know. I see it all the time after you said it.
Right.
Yeah, everybody, but you did it, man.
Exactly. You did it for us. Because we never heard it prior to that. So it's like, you marry the house, you date the rate.
Yeah.
And
come and they go.
If the rates go down, as long as you're doing what you need to do as a credit-worthy individual.
Keep your credit straight.
Right. Yep. When it's time for those rates to go down, you just refi.
You'll have your time.
It always finds a way to come back. But the good thing that I personally like about the fact that the rates are higher is that it stopped people from over-consuming. When those rates were low.
Stop a guy from buying 10 and 20 houses on the block.
Right. Like people
overextending on 40 loans.
Like just in over their heads, like going through so much stuff, which is why we're kind of creeping up the ladder a little bit on the foreclosures. They're not high, but they're tiptoeing, they're making their way.
Every little step I take.
And it's because people have gotten into situations where they got these low rates, they went in 20,000, 50,000 over asking.
It was sweet.
Now,
Sweeten rates was in the
they have more debt than they have house. So, you're kind of in a situation where, all right, you brought this house and it's so much over asking, and it may have appraised just under. If you bought it last year and you get it reappraised now, you might be a little stuck, because the numbers are not moving the way they were last year. They kind of leveled themselves out, but so that was the one thing that I did like about the rate hike. It helps
calm down the silly shit.
Yeah, it helps plant people more in reality. Like they weren't acting realistically, in
that was one of the few intentions,
2022.
right? That was, the whole purpose of inflation and the rate hikes are here to cool down consumption. Right? That's part of the game plan, and we've seen it. Now, we know how things work when the scales are too far tipped, And then now we enter into a recession, and now we'll start to see usually for interest rates, they mirror inflation. So once we have that, okay, cool, inflation looks like it's cooling, rates will start to come, but at the same time, we'll be dealing with people that, you know, are struggling financially. However, those who are not will continue to buy shit up. And, you know, the problem is, because sometimes people say, what are you going to do when, you know, rates are much lower? You know, what's going to happen? People are going to lose their minds again. But unfortunately, there's not going to be enough inventory to support what they're trying to do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's kind of what I worry about, is that, okay, cool. So yeah, the rates came down. So now what? Still got these same 5 houses to look at.
Yeah.
You know, but
Absolutely.
it's 50 y'all in the room.
Absolutely.
So, you
Absolutely.
know, that part bothers me. What's your thoughts on, in terms of, with investors, how they've been kind of handling, like, far as like, I know I have a lot of investors that have been complaining that banks are getting tighter, and you know, they're not able to do all of the craziness that they thought they were going to do it. Or have anybody, you know, regarding sellers, have they been vocal about, hey man, I'm used to going to Key Bank and getting $100,000 worth of credit, you know, now they're only trying to give me 50. Are you hearing any dialogue in regards to like investors and how they move with banks?
So the funny thing is, I'm seeing things with investors that are more strategic along the lines of leveraging cash or like leveraging what they already have. So they're not necessarily, you're talking about going to banks for personal loans or going
like going to banks for financing investment properties or things like that.
So DSCRs are picking up a lot.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
They're picking up a lot, you know, but again, they're leveraging cash so that they can jump into these properties and they find something where they can make their purchases to offset, you know, whatever else it is they have going on. After a year or two, they kind of refinance out, pull that cash out. So that's been a way that a lot of people have been getting their foot in the door.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a cash intensive type of loan. So to your point, yes, it is tighter.
Yeah.
I haven't heard any complaints. I just see people just reorganizing what they need to do.
Yeah.
Pioneer Elite Care is committed to treating each individual with dignity and respect. We take pride in providing quality care to those who require assistance at home. Contact us now.
Excellence is our standard.
Excellence is the rule.
Never the exception.
PioneerEliteCare.com